The CMAB Cares video series is brought to you by the California Milk Advisory Board, representing California's dairy farm families with the Real California Milk Seal. These videos are part of the CMAB's efforts to provide food service operators and chefs with beneficial information for success.
Hi, everybody. This is Chef Glenn Cebulski. Today, we're going to talk about how to maximize profits by knowing your prime costs. What if you could increase your profits by up to 10% just by doing some calculations in your restaurant? That's what prime costs are. Prime costs are the most important numbers that you can know in your restaurant. Prime costs are your food costs and your labor costs. And they're really easy to calculate, and we'll go through this right now. As far as food costs, mozzarella cheese on a pizza is by far the most expensive ingredient, accounting for more than half of the cost of the cheese pizza and a third of the cost of a meat lover's pizza. California is the #1 producer of mozzarella cheese in the country. In the food cost, it's your ingredients or your alcohol or your beverages. So every ingredient that you use. I like to include paper products as well for any packaging for your to-go items or your delivery items. The best way to understand what your prime costs are is to know what your opening inventory is. So if you're already opening and running and you didn't know anything about these prime costs, here's a real easy way to do it. You calculate all of the ingredients and all of the food that you have in your restaurant right now. Let's say that number is $1,000 worth of ingredients. Now, over the next month, you're also going to calculate how much ingredients that you purchased. And after that 30 days, you will then go back and do an inventory check. So you'll add up all of your inventory. The difference between your beginning inventory balance, the amount of products you bought, and your ending inventory balance, that is your prime cost of your food. That's what you spent on your food. You take that number against your gross revenue from that same 30-day time period, and you've got your food prime costs. You know exactly what your food costs. The other is your labor costs. Your labor costs are not just the hourly wages that you pay your employees or yourself. It includes your insurances and your taxes. So once you calculate all of those labor costs, including insurance and taxes, for that 30-day time period, you'll also know what your food costs are. Those two costs put together should be around 50 to 55% of your total gross income. If you made $10,000 and your food cost and your labor costs totaled $5,000, then you know that those two costs together are 50% of your revenue. So why are prime costs so important today, especially going into the new normal? Because knowing how much your food costs are versus what you're charging for your menu items will allow you to control your labor costs and turn a higher profit at the end of the month. There are so many restaurant owners that say, I'm making $100,000 a month in the restaurant, but we don't have any money left over. That's because your food costs are probably a lot higher than they should be, and you're spending way too much money on labor. When I started my first restaurant, I didn't know how to price my menu items correctly, and I gave away a lot of profits. Now you don't have to. This is Chef Glenn Cebulski. I'll talk to you next time.
This video is brought to you by the California Milk Advisory Board. California is the #1 dairy state, producing more milk, butter, and ice cream than any other state, and is the second largest cheese producer. The state's cheesemakers make more than 250 varieties and styles of quality, sustainable cow's milk cheeses. California leads the nation in production of mozzarella, Monterey Jack, and Hispanic-style cheeses. Visit the Real California Milk food service website to discover recipes, videos, and examples of ways to include dairy products in your menu selections. realcaliforniamilk.com/food service.